Welcome to the Conduit Deeper podcast, a podcast that takes a deep dive into the details that surround our current sermon series, from current events to fascinating finds to conversations that take us deeper into the Word. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to a bonus episode of the Deeper podcast. It's just me today without Mo, but I've got my friend Jean Gerald Lafleur, Pastor Lafleur from Haiti with us. We're going to talk about what's going on there, give you guys as many updates as we can. But before we do that, if you're listening, watching, can you do us a favor? I feel like weird because I feel like I'm an old guy trying to be young and hip, not working. But if you could like and subscribe on the YouTube, here's what I'll tell you. If you do this, my producer Micah and Caleb will actually respect and like me more. And if you do it more when I say it than when Mo does it, then I actually get a little bit of a bonus at the end of this. So like, subscribe, all that stuff. And then if you're on Apple or Spotify, they say that if you give us reviews. Now, if you don't like it, just like go ahead and go listen to Church of the City or The Bridge or whatever. But if you do like it, give us a 5. Is it a 5 stars that we're saying? 5? So you give us the 5-star, and then you can say whether Mo or I are better looking, one of those two. And that'll help us in the comment section. So that said, the best looking is my longtime friend, Pastor Lafleur from Haiti. Glad you're here, man.
Good morning, Pastor. Yeah. It is so good to be here.
Yeah. Can you hear okay in your headphones and stuff?
Yes.
Everything? Yeah, we didn't really.
So it is great being here in spite of what's happening in Haiti.
Yeah.
But it's always good to be away and to be in a different environment. So we appreciate what God is doing. I'm so glad to be here with you guys at the Conduit family and others.
Man, we're so glad you're here. We've known each other 20 plus years now. And you have exactly zero quit in you. Like what's happened in Haiti, and by the way, I was going to say better men than me would quit, but there have been tons of people that have just left Haiti. In fact, a guy told me that God, fellow missionaries, like, yeah, God really released me from Haiti. I'm like, can you do that? But you have not quit at all. You've survived political coups, civil war, hurricanes, earthquakes, plural.
Yes.
And now what's happening is, and if you don't know this, it's probably because right now either the news is focused on Israel or Ukraine, but literally in our backyard there is, would you call it a civil war at this point? Or what would you call it?
That's what it is. They just don't want to label it as that, but that's exactly what it is. When you have more than half of your country already been taken by gunmen who occupied every major streets of the capital and other parts of the rural sections. So it's pretty much that's what it is. It's a civil war.
Yeah,
but they're not calling it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess semantics, whatever, but words do matter. And in the olden days, like there was violence in Haiti. But so I don't know if you even know that, but I used to do this. Like when I'd get to Haiti, I'd get in the front seat of the van with Edna, and I would put my iPad and my iPhone way under the seat with whatever cash. But I kept an old iPhone and an old iPad, so that if I got robbed while we were stuck in traffic, I could just hand them that, but I still had my own. But back then it was like, if they had a gun, it may or may not have worked, or it might have been a knife but they're like, these are military grade. In America, they have a strange thing when they say assault rifles, they're technically just rifles but these are fully automatic weapons that are getting in there. I was reading in the Wall Street Journal this morning, actually, that they're getting not only automatic, but Barrett 50 caliber machine guns, which are actually automatic weapons. How are those getting in there?
That's the big question that we are asking. And we keep on believing that maybe those guns are coming unchecked, and the big containers that are coming to Haiti, sometimes they're sending food, and in the containers of food could be all these guns as well. So maybe they say some of these old weapons are similar weapons that were used like in Afghanistan. Some of them were used in Iraq, kind of things. So those, those kind of rifles.
So you're talking military grade. Are
Yes.
you suggesting that you think maybe CIA is getting these in there, or is it smuggled by just bandits?
This is what some of the some of the people of Haiti are saying, some of the intelligence of Haiti are saying. They believe some of these major international guys who know how to do this type of stuff. They are the ones sneaking them in, working through some of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because those bad guys, some of them never travel. And there's no way that they could sit down and order these things properly and to come to them directly like that. So they believe there are some hidden hands that have been helping to fuel those things and to pass them on and send them down to Haiti. And we also believe there are 3 groups of people that we feel could be very much guilty in a lot of the situations down there. Those guys who have a lot of money, what we call the oligarchs. So they have a lot of money. They're buying those mines, those young mines that are very vulnerable because of poverty, and some of the politicians also, because it started way this thing get increased. So as you mentioned, Haiti used to have just maybe 45, 38, 22. Those are the kind of guns that those street guys used to have.
Still dangerous, but not
a lot.
Not automatic weapons.
They're not even plenty as well. So, but now to have those major war guns, that are on the ground, so they feel, and they are costly also to get.
Yeah.
So they feel somebody who have a lot of money have to be involved in that. And then secondly, those so-called politicians who wanted to control power in some of these areas, because when elections time about to come, most of the time they go and they try to give money and guns to some of those young men to control turf for them to be able to manipulate the election.
Yeah.
And so that happened over the years, and that way, when the election is over, they don't pull back those guns from those guys. I mean, these guys continue to feel powerful, and they continue to increase the power. And as that goes, then you find they get in more and more connections, and every time they wanted to control something, they bring more guns and more money, more guns, more money.
Yeah.
And these are the things that have been happening. And out of that also, it is felt, as I said, the international community, those big guys, they are part of it. So it's because if you don't sanction it, you don't block it, that means you facilitate it. That means you are for it. Just as the Bible says in Matthew 12:30, if you're not for me, you are against me.
Gotcha.
If you're not building with me, you are scattering abroad against me. So we think that's what has been happening on the ground.
Right. So even if it's not our government proactively sending them, they're not blocking them either.
Exactly.
And so,
and then they also blocking the national police, that is a legal group, to be able to get major equipment. They say, well, they have an embargo on the National Police of Haiti not to be able to get all these major automatic weapons.
Wow.
And then they say the Army of Haiti, which is, they had destroyed the army in 1991.
Yeah.
But now in 1992, 1991, they had our army destroyed, but they are trying to build a new embryo of the army, and they have a clause that say, well, they don't want to sell major automatic guns to the army of Haiti. So that means you are facilitating those bad boys. Imagine the bad boys have more greater powerful guns than the army or than the police.
Right.
What are you trying to say?
There was a season in the United States where that was happening, where gangs on the streets were outgunning our police, and in some cases that's still the case here. And there was always a hesitation around here about militarizing our police here. And to clarify what you're saying, I'm trying to put this in an American context. It would be almost like if in the United States, like, this senator has just won election, so Pelosi or whoever, and now they're hiring gangs or armed militias, whatever, to kind of protect their turf.
Yes.
And so this little section had this little gang, and this little section has this gang, and this congressman, and so there was some of that going on. Was Moise, I don't want to confuse people. So let me try to make this bite size. 3 years ago, was it 2 years ago that the president was assassinated? Yes. Okay. But even before that, like, that was not good, obviously, but even before that.
About 3 years ago, so even before that.
Yeah.
I can, to put it, I don't want to label people, but actually from the time that the government of Michel Martelly in 2010, 2011, get into power after the earthquake. So from that time, we see the influx of those major automatic weapons into Haiti.
So it started that long ago. Yeah.
So, but it gets bigger and bigger because during the regime of Mateli, 2014, 2013, 2014, 2015, he never had an election. And during that time, so he was building his force, his strength to be able to present somebody to the population to be like his successor, to replace him. So, and that's where he come with Jovenel Moise. And Jovenel Moise now, so Mateli was the one who controlled the ground for him to prepare it and control it so that he could come and take over. And those were, so now they had some more guns coming in to facilitate those guys also to control their turf. And that's why they used to use that statement, bandit in the suit. Bandits in suit.
Yeah. And that was during Martelli's?
During Martelli.
Yeah.
And from there, the bad guys on the road, I mean, those street men begin to get those big guns and begin to get involved in decision-making in terms of forcing their way for things to happen. They pressure people. And then, of course, after that, kidnapping get to that level because too many guns on the streets. So those fellows now begin to kidnap more and more people for money. And that become like kind of an industry for the bad guys.
Yeah.
And with the death of Jovenel Moise, so the thing continue. So that's where we are.
And the kidnapping was it's a business model.
That's what it is.
For them. And I want to ask you about our current President Biden and his deportations. But before I do that, I do want to say too, if you're listening, if you're watching, we're at this 30,000-foot view, but on the ground level right now, in fact, even right now, Jean-Marie, one of our guys on the ground, just sent me some videos and photos this morning from school. In the middle of all this geopolitical stuff, it's easy to lose sight that there are literally children right now who need help and nobody's coming for them. And we have a chance to do that. We literally have the chance to go there, to come for them through you. You're the conduit, so to speak, for that. And what we've really doubled down on right now is just making sure that there's enough food. And somehow you guys have managed to get food, even with all the ports being taken down. And $60 a month feeds a whole family.
Yes.
Which seems crazy in America because $60 doesn't really do hardly a week, or it doesn't do a week. But we can do a month there. So if you're listening to this and you just want to stay in the geopolitical whatever, but just pray that the Lord would lead you. If he leads you towards that, ConduitChurch.com, just choose Haiti, the donate button, Haiti Community Transformation. 100% of those revenues are going. In fact, literally today, some families woke up and had food today because of the generosity of you, if you're part of the conduit. But June is coming. Yes. And we need to get that in so that by June, that those families can continue to eat. It's imperative. These are our friends. And we can sit around and talk about whose fault it is, but what we know is if you're 5 years old, it's not your fault, and we have a chance to do something about that. Our President Biden, who may or may, I don't know if he even knows what's happening in Haiti. I'm not even sure if he knows what's going on in his own house right now. The guy seems like he's got advanced dementia on many levels, but there's some policies that he has put in place right now, including deporting Haitians the minute they come across the border. In fact, Wall Street Journal just last month said that they had picked up flights again back, and the airports are closed, so I'm not even sure where they're flying them to, unless they're using military.
They fly them into Cape Haitian.
So they're flying to Cape Haitian?
Every week, they have been, sometimes twice a week, they've been bringing deportees back to Haiti. Right.
So let me frame it this way. Right now on our southern border, there's a massive crisis, and anybody can just walk across the border, declare that they're in danger, and then they basically, it's the honor system. We'll put a court date that may or may not be in 5 years. We'll see in 5 years, and then they disappear into the country, and there's a lot of good people that are coming through there. There's a lot of bad people that are coming through there. But what's fascinating to me is, for some reason, the Biden administration has decided, and this was Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNBC, all reporting that they're doubling down on deporting Haitians. Two questions. One, what does that make you feel And two, why do you think that is?
Over the years, we always felt, we have been feeling rejected by the U.S. government. It's been not a feeling, but it's a reality.
Yeah.
If you look at, for example, the Cubans can swim and come over to Miami, they are accepted and receive, celebrate, and after a while, they become part of the family of America.
Right.
But the Haitians could even go as far as making it onshore in the Keys of Florida, making it onshore. Somebody already come out of the sea. Once they are taken, 90% to 95% of the time, or even to 98, 99%, they're going to be sent back to Haiti.
Right. Why? So it's maddening to me because on the southern border, and the truth is nobody knows because nobody knows. They're not asking. They're not investigating. When we've got Muslims, Chinese nationals, and again, these may and very well could be good people that just were trying to escape violence. And they also very well could be nefarious actors using this open door into our border. It is a massive crisis. And by the way, it was wild in the last couple of years because Florida and Texas both started saying, look, if you're not going to help us with this problem, we're going to take buses and start dropping migrants off in Washington, D.C., in New York. And that was what forced the issue to suddenly now even Democrats are like, okay, we got to figure something out here. But they haven't done it yet. But the point is that when it became their problem, suddenly they want to talk about it. But even in the middle of all that, to put this in context, imagine, like say we're in Nashville and it's become dystopian, failed state, and the airport is ground zero, and you're dropping off thousands of people in the middle of a war zone with nothing, and yet millions of others are coming through unhindered.
So we feel that plight, and it's been real. We do not understand why it has to be like that with America against Haiti. We always say we're very close neighbor. We're next door to Miami, Florida. So, and they should be nicer to us, but it's not so. As much as they're trying to make you feel nice to you, but if you receive your open door, you take 5 and you send out 20, it doesn't make any sense at all. So that means you are really giving back or more sending back most of these people. And some of them, in fact, even people who were managed to get here as children, they get here very young and everything. They do not know anything about Haiti much, and so of course they do petty crime. They get involved in whatever things that should not be, and they're sending all these people back. So they don't even know people. Some of them don't even know Haiti. They don't know the ground. They know nothing. When even right now, what's happening by sending them, dropping them in the north, they give them less than $10. Imagine. You take somebody, some of them were living here, maybe they had a little basic of life. You take them, you drop them down there, you give them less than $10. They in the north of Haiti. Now, the north of Haiti is about 7 to 8 hours away from the capital.
Yeah, and it's a rough 7 or 8 hours.
Controlled by gunmen. Maybe about 8 different stations from the north to the capital you have to pay your way. In 8 different stations. Gunmen charge you like they set up their own toll.
Yeah. So put that in perspective, like our airport, and I'm trying to get back to Franklin, but there are gangs in different parts of the city.
Yes.
And I have to pay a tax.
Yes.
To them to even get through. At gunpoint.
And even sometimes you get through, they're paying your way. If they get mad, they could still grab you, and your parents may never see you again. Your family may have to be paying $100,000 to get you.
Yeah.
And money that they don't have. So that's why you end up dying. So it's a big, big thing. We think the USA supposed to be much more lenient towards us. We know there may be some bad people, as you say, in the crooks that are getting in through. But at the same time, why Haitians have to be the one punished so hard when it comes to many other nations giving opportunities? If you give in some, give it to everyone.
Yeah, when you do the math, and this, I don't know, get me canceled. I don't work here. You can't cancel me. But it wasn't a Haitian hijacking planes on 9/11. It wasn't Haitians that bombed the World Trade Center, right? It's not Haitians that are hacking government systems to try to take down the power grid. I could go on, but Haitians are not doing that. But for some reason, Haitians have been singled out as it's okay to ship them back. And I'm befuddled by it because even from the perception-wise, because like the UN, even progressive groups, like it seems like the kind of thing that people could kind of have we could all get together, at least on this. Like we know there's a problem here. How can we help? And for some reason, it was literally this week that the Biden administration made a statement. They've doubled down that they're going to continue the same policy of, and he made the statement, there are no good choices, which is true of the entire southern border. But for some reason, it's been Haitian. So it makes me wonder what's going on behind the scenes, what conspiracy somewhere, because this doesn't make any sense on the surface. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because there are still families and kids, moms and dads, that woke up this morning in Haiti. They just want to live their lives. They just want to feed their kids. They still love their country. They want desperately to have some sort of security. And whatever the governments are going to do, we get to be the church in that. And how many kids are at Restoration Academy? So it's they're still in class right now.
In class right now. We have about 500 kids. So we would say in a specific number is about between 475 to 480 kids.
Yeah. And they wake up in the morning, they get to go to school. And by the way, keeping kids in school is definitely education, but it also keeps them safe, right?
Exactly. We find if we, for some reason, we just cancel school like that, it's a big problem. So the kids rather be in school. So that's why they feel safe, and of course that's why also they're getting a plate of food. So
yeah, so they're going to eat at school today.
Exactly.
And teen pregnancies go down, violence is down. With it, and when you're in the capital right now, are the schools all still closed in Port-au-Prince?
Most of them. It's so right now people wondering when they're going to have official examination, how they're going to do it, because the kids in Port-au-Prince, they're not in school. Yeah. Most of them, and they're scared. And if you start this week, open up after a few months, closing down, but you have to go in your plain clothes. You can't really put on your school uniform. So that
makes you a target? So if you've got a school uniform, it makes you a target.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's not supposed to be. When you're in uniform, you're supposed to actually be to feel safer, but it's not so down there right now. So if you were in your uniform, you become a target. So they have to sneak in the kids to school, somehow, doing all kind of things to try and to keep them educated. But it's a tough situation, which we always feel to us in Haiti, it's even harder because in every nation that has war, there is always a civilian path left for people to be able to go to school or for some people to be able to get to the market and whatever. But some part of Haiti right now, you cannot do that.
Right. And we continue to, and I say we, meaning United States and the international community, any assistance we are sending, is it all going into Port-au-Prince right now?
That's the point. That's what people are asking.
Yeah. Port-au-Prince
is in a place of disarray. It's like, it's a chaotic environment. So we wonder when goods get there, what they do with them and where they go.
Right. And so if you're watching on YouTube, I don't know, if you don't have a Haiti map in front of you, this is the only way I know to describe this. My hand up like this is Haiti, and there's a peninsula that goes off of it. This is very crude, but in the webbing is where Port-au-Prince is.
Yes.
And that is where the major port, gas, fuel, food, everything goes right there. And then it spider webs out to the rest of the country.
Yes.
And are the gangs still in control of the ports in Port-au-Prince?
They are, because they have their biggest base is next door to the port.
So literally we're shipping, like we're FedExing supplies to these gangs, and they could easily, and I'll be honest, I remember this in the earthquake days as well. I was talking to the major NGO saying, it's all going to bottleneck right here, and it's not going to get to the rest of the country because the roads are all blocked. They can't get out of there. But it was so hard to get people to get their mind wrapped around, go to the bottom of the thumb knuckle, like, Jeremy, Lacaille, Jacques Mel.
Go to other places.
Yeah.
But they stuck right there, and that's what's been happening even now. So you end up, for you to get gas, what we call fuel, you have to do it on the black market.
And by black market, can you describe, because I've been a part of that when the earthquake happened, but describe what that means.
The black market is that somebody get the gas into the gas station and they tell you there's no gas. So now at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, somebody pump out all the gas into big containers and give to some guys who will go on the streets and telling you, okay, you keep checking the gas station, no gas. But the street have gas. And somebody have it somewhere hidden.
Got it, yeah.
So then you go, if it was like $3, and the person tell you, well, it's $6, $7, you got to try to get it. So now you need it, so therefore you have no choice. You end up have to take it.
Right.
So you're paying double for it or triple for it. It depends on how far you are in the rural section. So that has been the situation for since before Jovenel died.
Yeah. And
after his death, it even increased. They trying to all kind of stuff to bring gas, they say, but every time the gas get into the terminal, which is in Port-au-Prince, either controlled by the government to say the gas cannot move, so they have to go and pay them to negotiate. And then those gas station owners will tell you, well, they pay so much money to get the gas into, they to have to raise the gas on their ground. And then they realize, well, if I go to black market, I'm making more money. Then most of them go in that road and forget the population is suffering now. You can't even buy it because most people don't have money to buy it. So cash flow become a big issue. So anywhere you turn it is in what I call it's a disaster, total disaster when it comes big humanitarian disaster we have right now on the ground in Haiti.
Yeah. It's an open air refuge. The entire nation has become almost like an open air refugee camp. And so black market think. So we got Caleb sitting over here, you know, Caleb gets his jerry can or empty container and fills it with gas, but he takes it home. Yeah. And I remember after the earthquake on the back of a moto in back roads, going to somebody's little tiny house, and he comes out with this little orange, yellow jerry can with it used to have oil in it. Yeah. And I don't remember how much he paid per gallon, but that's how we would get gas. Yeah. And now to put that in the reality check of this is, this is what it means. This is the impact. The fresh, clean water is not obviously in abundance there, but there's a well on the property of Restoration.
Thank God.
Thank God. And it's gas-powered generator because the electricity is off almost.
Over 3 years in Jackmel, we have never seen national electricity. Over 3 years. And before these 3 years, we used to probably see it once a week for a few hours, maybe like 4 hours once a week.
Right.
So like we spent 5 years, we would say we scarcely get 20% of national power showing it. And we're paying for it every month still too, and stuff like that. So, but lately, therefore, over 3 years, we have never seen the power comes on, the light comes on, we say, oh, that's national power. No way.
Right.
So you have to get your generator running or get your solar, whatever, going, and buy these batteries very expensive. So all kind of stuff.
So if you're a business owner, like our friend Bernard, who owns a hotel, he's gone. Our friends the Haitian friends that lived in Tulsa for a while that owned the pizza place, I remember her saying, we got to get out of here. Like we came back to try to make our country better. And that was 4 years ago. Yeah. So there's been a brain drain on the nation.
It is.
But this weekend we'll do water distributions there.
Yes.
Which means Jean-Marie is going to have to get on a moto and go find gas on the black market to power the generator just so we can get water to the people, which, by the way, we're doing and will continue to do. I don't like it. None of us like it, but we also ain't going to quit. So if it means that's how we're going to have to get water to the people, we're going to get water to the people. And that's part of it when you're helping us with this Haiti community transformation. $60 a month provides the food. We've just been taking the gas money out of just, trying to take it out of general budget because no water is bad, right?
It's survival.
So surviving.
It's a survival moment for us right now. In Haiti, a lot of people, we say they're not really living today, but they are surviving.
Yeah.
They're trying to survive, to hold on.
So you're born and raised in Port-au-Prince.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How different is today than when you grew up there?
I said I was born in the regime of dictator Duvalier.
Baby Doc.
And I grew up, and I said I have never seen Haiti on their knees like that.
Yeah.
We've been through all kind of stuff during the time of Duvalier. But sad to say, right now, some people say maybe we should go back to the Duvalier time. If it's how we are facing today time, that means that they are, according to them, even under a dictator, it was slightly better for them than what they are facing right now.
Yeah, think about how bad it is when you are longing for the days of a brutal, totalitarian, murderous dictator, that was better.
That's what many of them are saying. So, this is one thing that they had, even though it was very brutal, but there was a level of respect people have. So, you were not afraid to walk the streets of Port-au-Prince. I remember as a child, as a teenager, I used to catch a bus from Carrefour, that suburb of Port-au-Prince, and into Port-au-Prince, like by the Champs, by the Palace area. So we will walk there, just enjoying ourselves, taking pictures around, back to, even though we never developed them, because by the time you have to go take them to get developed and see our pictures. But, we just used to, we say it in the language, we used to lime that way. Yeah. So like at Christmas time or Christmas Eve, just many youngsters, teenagers, we just go down, get on nice buses and moving around, go to Champs, go to by the Palace and go by the port side, close. That's where the Parliament building was, and so whatever. So we used to just enjoy life, according to us, even though it was a government that was a very rigid, robust kind of tough government. But as children, we felt we were safe to walk around Haiti, around the city, and enjoy life.
Right.
To us, that was enjoy life. We go to the movies. To kids today, time in Haiti, never been to movies unless they watch, never been to a movie theater unless they watch maybe on Netflix, those who have luxury, or watch on their phone or on their laptop, whatever. But I used to go to movie theater myself.
Wow.
People like Wendell never know about movie theater.
They don't even know what they're.
No, they don't know what it is. I had to take her last year to Dominican Republic when we were down there as a family. Then she went to the movies so that she could see what is a movie like. And that woman is 26, you're 27. Yeah. She didn't know what is a movie theater in Haiti. But in my days, and so those were available, even though life was difficult, so much pressure from the government, whatever. But yet still you could have walked around the city, could have done these things. But today, from the time 6 o'clock catching you, you're hustling to get out of Port-au-Prince to try to go into your inside. If you could, but now, not only that, even 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you see the streets empty.
Yeah.
Because people were so scared and gunshot everywhere. So you all those big noise. And so my grandmother, she's 89. My dad, mom, she's 89. She lives in the suburb where I came from.
Alive?
She's still alive.
At 89?
89. So we were saying she said, I have never seen anything like that in my life. And my grandmother is 89. So she lives in Haiti. And so she said, every night I'm hearing these guns. I have never gotten that before. She said, I used to walk around as a young woman, do this, do that. So now I cannot do them. In fact, my grandmother was a trader. She used to go from Carrefour to come into Port-au-Prince to go at the big market to go and buy things like vegetables, bananas, different things to go and sell in our city, in our suburb. So she said, I used to get up like 3 o'clock in the morning. No, I don't have to have men with me, nobody. I just go and catch my bus, walk for a few miles, get a bus, get into the Port-au-Prince area, buy stuff, because there's a place called Croix de Bossal close to the port of Port-au-Prince. She said, but this generation today cannot do these things. She said, it used to be 3 a.m. as a woman. She used to go to try to buy these things from vendors who are coming in. And most of the vendors were also women. Some of them left their house maybe at 12 o'clock in the night or in the evening, start walking with their goods to get down to the city of Port-au-Prince. But today, you can't do it. And even if you happen to produce in your backyard those things, you cannot really move them from point A to B. You had to eat a few of them and keep them there. So the trading power is no longer around. And this is why we are saying now Haiti is doomed with what's happening because people really don't have the means to get by. So that's why they are crying out if the dictatorship back then was better for them, because they could move from point A to B without any major problem.
So if President Biden were sitting in here and he happened to be awake, I think his bedtime is like 5 p.m. or something. In all seriousness, though, what would you? So you're Haitian. These are your people. This is your land. It's where you were born. Your parents, your family, they're buried there.
Yes.
What would you say to President Biden?
The first thing I would say, I use that word, give us a chance, help us. Help in what way? So it's not just about bringing the basic relief. See how you can empower Haiti to come on its feet. There are many things that will have to be involved to get us on our feet, but we'll say, please embrace us and make these things happen for us. And security, help us to have security on the ground. Because even though people use Haitians to get the place unsafe, we would say also it can take some of the same people to bring the place into safety so that people can operate. Because when you feel locked up, you cannot really move around. So you're not living. You're not free. Sometimes people who could even be hungry, and because you have a little bit of freedom, you see it for yourself when you go on the streets of, in Jacmel, you see our kids in the early days, they were not eating. And they're happy. They running all over the place, they jump in, blah, blah, take my picture, blah, blah, picture, photo.
Blanc.
So they that was a sense of happiness and happy moment for them, even though they were hungry, because they feel safe. Yes, they live in a shack, but yet still, now, we have helped through your influence and support to change much of that in our community. So now some of them have a house, they don't have any more shacks, but that's what they had. But they were happy. So I would tell Mr. Biden, really embrace us and help us. So when you help us, we're not going to be a bother to you anymore. So that's why we are also helping. We say in Haiti, when we help a boy and a girl to have an education, to be able to have a plate of food, have a place to stay, we say later on, they will not trouble our children. They will not become the bad boys. Because most of those bad boys are saying they were rejected, marginalized. And that's why now somebody else could come and use them because they don't have anything to hold on to. So if you help us, you embrace us and help us in our situation to get out of it or to make our life better, therefore will not become a burden to you in your backyard by going to the border. We can still have a life. I know I can get a job there. My kids can do, they can get a job there. The neighbors' kids can do that, they can make a living there. So that's what we are saying. You want us not to be a burden to you? Facilitate life for us on the ground in Haiti.
What would you tell him that you don't want the U.S. government to do?
We don't want the U.S. government to keep the remote control. They put in guys that they can control, and if they don't like that, they're shooting this out, put somebody else in that according to their own order. We say, no, help me enough, work with me, and facilitate me, as I said, to make my own decision.
Yeah.
So that now I can know I'm responsible for this, not you. I am responsible for it. For example, throughout history, it's proven that 80 to 90% of our government, of our president, have been dictated by the U.S. government and other international communities' influence. So we say no to that. We say there are some Haitians who are patriotic enough, who love their country, and who also have capability, what it takes to lead. So maybe they don't have the money. Maybe they don't, but they have the knowledge, whatever. So if you can facilitate them to have access with money, and they can develop their own group of people for the nation, for the good of the nation, much better. Because over the years, we figure out that once U.S. doesn't like you, and the international communities, France, Canada, all these, England, all of them coming together, they don't like you, they just go, they pay somebody else to come against you, they reject you, boom, and they put somebody else they can control. That other one trying also to kind of think they don't like it, they do the same thing. And then you keep starting all over again. We're saying this sorrow right now is so big, to help us to plaster it, yes, to put to heal the wounds, and at the same time, give us a chance to catch ourselves. Because some things we have to do for ourselves. That's what it is.
Yeah. It almost, so this might be a stretch. I grew up on government assistance in the United States. And the truth is this, that in the United States, even the poorest people, like, my family growing up, we had at least government assistance. financially. So we had food, but, and this is a huge but, the way that the system is set up in the United States is not a hand up, it's a hand out. And the families, many of the families in the town that I grew up in, not all, of course not all, but a lot, it almost becomes that's the goal in life, is to get the government assistance. Find a way to be declared disabled because you get a check. It's not giant, but you can eat on it and you can pay rent with it and free healthcare with it. So it becomes like this goal to be, and it feels like what the U.S. has done to Haiti, the Haitian government, was to create an entitlement state in the same way that it created entitlement people. And people break out of it all the time. I did. I don't know how or why, just God's grace that and just like you, broke out of it.
Yes.
But the difference between you and me, though, you grew up poor, I grew up poor. You didn't have government assistance.
No.
You were out there not eating for days at a time. Yeah. But you figured out a way to work through it. And what seems like it's done on the state level is create an environment now and now there is no state, right? There is no state to even enable. Like, I don't even know who. Let me ask you from this question. This is what I wanted to ask you. If the United States were to help financially right now, who do they help? Is there a government to send money to?
Last week, they say that they established a provisional council, presidential council. They call it PC.
Who is they? Who established it?
U.S.
Yeah. Just want to be clear on that. Yeah.
U.S. They say they're using the CARICOM guys to be the intermediate to.
And CARICOM is the Caribbean nations.
Caribbean nations, to say they facilitate this group of guys. But you know what? It's just the changing of names, but it's the same gods. It's the same fellows who were there, who were in their 70s, in their 60s years old, who don't do nothing for Haiti politically. It's the same set of guys that they put right back there, different name, but the same structure, the same everything. Now, which fighting, they cannot even up to now have a prime minister established, because Haiti you must have a president and a prime minister, which is the U.S. have a president and a vice president. Yeah. But our context, you must have a president and a prime minister. So up to now, they can't get themselves together to have a prime minister because it's fighting of power.
Yeah, so they basically appointed 7 people.
Mm-hmm. 7 voting powers and 2 just advisors.
Yeah. And so you've got 7 voters, so 9 total, appointed and supported by politicians in the United States that probably still have their AOL email addresses. Like, these are not people that are on the cutting edge of what's going on in technology or in the world in general. And it reminds me a lot of our policies in, say, like Iraq, when we were going in there, and you could ask any senator, what is the difference between Sunni and Shia Islam? And none of them knew. And it's literally, that's not a tertiary issue. It's the issue in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And so we set up a president over there who was a Shia president, and a Sunni vice president in Iraq. And it was like, well, we'll just all get along now, It's like Republican and Democrat. And it's not. It's more like Protestants and Catholics in Ireland in the 80s.
It won't work.
It's a war. By the way, if you're looking for a book recommend to our listeners, viewers, I guess we have to say viewers now. Do I have to say viewers? Viewers. There's a book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman. I cannot remember the author, but it's the only one out there. Confessions of an Economic Hitman. He's a former CIA agent, and he goes through the entire history of the U.S. involvement, everything from Panama, Haiti, and what our government was doing behind the scenes through the Reagan administration, Bush, Clinton, Republicans and Democrats at this point. I was captured by that idea. You said it's just different guys, but it's different names, but the same ideas.
The same ideas.
And that's, at this point, I don't know if I'm nihilistic, but Republican or Democrat in the United States right now feels a lot like heads or tails. It's the same quarter, it's just
the same ideas.
It just depends on which one you're looking at. But when it comes to the current situation, what is the church's responsibility? So we're talking, here's what we've said, here's what you'd say to the president. Let's say you've got a pastor in front of you. No, let me do it this way. Let's say you just got some people from the church in front of you and you're just having a one-on-one conversation. What could they do? What ought they to do? Or what do you want them to know about Haiti
This is what I said it. I've been advocating for it even throughout prior to the earthquake. And after the earthquake, I get even stronger at advocating for it. People say, oh, well, Haiti is so much chaos right now. We can't help. We don't want to go. We don't want to help. Whatever. I say, no. Find at least one that you can help. And that one can be a helper to many. Empower that one. That's what I'm trying to say. In the midst of chaos, you can still find people who are legitimate, who are real, and who also have what it takes to help. So therefore, you work with them. So do not wait. There were many organizations that came over down to Haiti after the earthquake. During the earthquake, as soon as the earthquake happened, and many of them were not really good organizations. So they robbed a lot of the support. They will rob us big time.
Would you include the Clinton Foundation?
Oh, they are the number one.
Yeah,
they are the number one. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you can say the name seriously.
The U.S. Red Cross. That's another big one.
Yeah. You would be better to put your money in a fire pit and light it on fire than to donate it to the Red Cross.
So you understand? So I used to tell people, listen, even though we do have these people that are using the situation to really enrich somebody else and whatever, but there are some people who are legitimate and who are really real about helping the people. So you always have to try to find those people and work with them. So, and we are so grateful to the churches, in spite of what happened in terms of the political aspect of things with the government of America. But the churches, a lot of them have been coming to the rescue. They have been trying to feed people, trying to get some of the clinics going in Haiti. In fact, statistics proven most of the clinics and hospitals that are helping people, they are church-based group.
Yeah.
You understand?
Oh, I do.
Yes.
And what I remember about the earthquake days, you called them wooden tents.
Yeah.
So let's go back 14 years. The earthquake obliterated very populated areas, and people were without any shelter, no homes. I remember one of the families, the mama, she had her baby either the day of or the day after the quake, had her baby outside, cut the umbilical cord herself. And was with no home.
Yes.
But so to put it, we were building homes in that day for $5,000 to $7,000 because of inflation hadn't hit yet.
Yes.
But these were proper cinder block concrete homes. But there was an organization, and I don't remember, was it UN or USAID that were building the wooden tents?
The U.S. Red Cross.
Those are Red Cross houses.
Partnership with the National Red Cross.
So these were $5,000, and it was basically some plywood.
These did not even cost $500 US dollars to build one.
Right, but they were
labeled as 5,000.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why they were saying that all of those millions, over $500 million, they were taken and abused in different ways not to help the people.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much wooden shack people had.
Yeah.
This could not be called houses.
And this is a Caribbean island. You're talking, even if it's treated plywood, it doesn't last long. And they were bowing, and obviously climate, it was terrible. It was hot and miserable. And they were, celebrating building these homes. And that I would say, I have two pieces of advice just from my experience with it. And one is when you're donating to a large NGO, non-government organization, if you don't know what that means, you've got to know that a large percentage of your donation is going to overhead.
Overheads.
I remember pulling into, and I won't say the name of the organization, but and they had these two matching Land Rovers, brand spanking new. Like Toby Mac would have lost his mind to have one of these Land Rovers that was with the stovepipes, and they still had the plastic on the seats. $95,000 14 years ago.
Yes.
And I actually rode in one. I thought that was kind of nice. And then I thought, $90,000, we could have built 20 houses.
Of course.
For one Land Rover cost. So you got to know that if you're donating to an organization that's a large one, make sure you're checking out that. Now I'm gonna caveat that and say this, because you specifically said something about helping one. And what I know is this, and this has been my experience in every country we've ever been to. There are young people that have access to Facebook, to the internet. And by the way, they genuinely need help. my advice would be not to send them money directly, but to send to the organization that is helping the community around them. Prayerfully consider that as your thing, but that's what we do now. When I get a request for help, I tell them, go to Fedani, go to Lafleur, go to the Restore Haiti office, put your request in there, because there's so many needs that you can't help them all anyway. But for me, that has been a way to help the most people.
Yes.
And some of that, it sounds harsh, but like, let's say it's a young whatever, and they want a moto, they want to go to university. Those are all good things. But in a situation where we are right now, like right now, I know the church needs a brand new, they need a sound system. Very bad. So. But if I have to choose sound for the church on a Sunday or food for the families on Monday, and I have to choose because the world's got way more need than I've got money. If I have to choose, I choose food for Monday.
Yeah.
Now, maybe we'll get to the point again, God willing, that we don't have to make that choice. But right now, that's what we're making the choice.
Exactly.
And so we choose food. But the reason I bring that up is that if you're the young person hitting up somebody on Facebook, you're not thinking in the big picture. You're thinking me right here, right now. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're human, and that's what humans do. And part of our job as leaders is to say, take the emotion out of it and say, this is what we have to do right now. So if you're getting hit up online, bless them, send them to, specifically for Haiti, send them specifically to, Restoration Church to put their requests in there.
Yes.
It doesn't mean they're going to get their request, but at least there's accountability for it. And to say that we're not building $5,000 wooden tents, we're sending food in, and 100% of it. One of the beautiful things about a church doing this is I don't have to take a salary from this because the church salaries me, takes care of me. So if you send us $60 goes to the food. It's not $60 minus a $5 processing fee, not $60 minus a finder's fee. It's $60. So ConduitChurch.com, Community Transformation Haiti, 100% of it is going to go help a family. And if you think about it, I mean, $60 is it's weird because it's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money for a whole month to feed a family. It's actually remarkable that we could do that for them. We're getting close to an hour here. What do you think the future looks like? You're a visionary.
The future, we are hoping that they will be able to find the right piece of puzzle for the political leadership of Haiti. Because right now, people trying, it's like it looks like it, it's not it. It looks like it, but it's not it. So we are praying that they will find the right piece of that puzzle and fit it nicely. As it fits nicely, they will be able to turn it and have a look and say, oh, that's it. And let us just rally around this and take us to the next level. So the country needs stability for people to not to be afraid to be moving around. And if you're moving around, you could go and dig up the river, get stones, set it up, and start selling for people to start rebuilding. You can go and get sand, pile them up, and start selling so that people who have the means to trying to slowly rebuild their lives can start doing these things. So in a sense, once these things can happen, once they can happen, people in a sense start having buying power again. And
electricity power.
So there are many things that they can try to do to also have a sense of living for themselves, that they can have $2, $3 in their own pocket, that they know that they work hard for it and they can establish something. And so what now we are feeling, it is not safe to have election, but we feel they must be able to find leadership. The people must be able to find leadership that they can trust and set into power to be able to really begin to drive the country in the next direction. And I'm not gonna be burying my head in the sand to say, oh, if we put a government that is Christians or that is this, that, and they will change things around. They don't have the magic power, the magic hand, the magic sticks to just touch it and it changed. No, they will have to work hard. But we also believe what I say when people of good integrity. And that's why been the problem over the years. We don't believe the U.S. government believes in the people of Haiti who have integrity. And if they find a Haitian man and woman who have integrity, they trying to spoil their mind towards the nation. So we need people with integrity, with a heart for people, with a heart for the nation to be into power, to be in power. They will be able in turn to raise up others, rally a good team for the growth and development in that nation. And as John Maxwell said it, everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yeah.
So who leads you matters. Who's in power matters. And that's why Haiti cannot be stable, because those leadership have been failing us over the years. And leaders who are so-called friends outside also, many of them have been failing us. But as we were saying, I was saying earlier, it is proven also that most of the good of Haiti is happening because of good people of integrity that rally around Haitians to empower them to help. Like I would give an example, clear, not to be biased, but it's a reality. Because you invest in people like me, I'm investing in other people on the ground, young men and women who actually preparing themselves. Even when the nation opens, they can run for politics. They can serve their communities. They are equipped, they are educated, they are empowered for this type of task. So we haven't been investing. The church, our ministry, become the largest employer in our community of Jackbell where we are.
I didn't know that.
Yes, our ministry.
Wow.
The largest. Through the schools, our secondary school alone, that have 34 teachers. So I don't have to think about the primary school level. In fact, our CA as a school, just one entity in our ministry alone, has about 75 to 80 workers.
It's
in a little
RCA
city.
is Restoration Christian Academy. Yeah.
Just to give you an example.
Yeah.
We don't even take those that are working with the Restore Haiti office.
Yeah.
And we can go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, when you start talking about the church and construction projects and the clinic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we really would like to see happen. Many more of these kind of things, which is working towards transforming lives on the ground. So that's what we are predicting for the future if they embrace people of great integrity, people who are really not about piling up money for themselves, what about employing the people with whatever comes in. Like we love to say, we stretch every dollar so that we can feed everyone. And we make that statement when we say we're trying to live simply so that others can simply live. It is the truth of what we do. So we don't live fancy big life. That's why when you come, you drive our cars that don't have, some of them no AC. That's why you have to, whatever.
Yeah.
So we try, so we don't live porch life so that people on the ground can be empowered, then they can help themselves in time to come. Yeah, I can call many examples that we have because I was the only English person in my community when I come to Jackmel to establish that ministry over 20-something years ago. But today, many of them that are hitting you on Facebook now is because we send them to English school.
Yeah.
Because we teach them, so we empower them.
Yeah. And just like that, just alone, like English, to put that in perspective, it sounds like, oh, they learned English. It's a game changer.
It is.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but in Haiti, if you just speak Creole, it's presumed that you are ignorant because you didn't learn French.
Yes.
You learn, and Creole, they call it dirty French. Is that a bad way to say it?
They say broken French.
Broken French.
It's a bad way.
Yeah.
Because it becomes a language of its own.
Yeah, it is its own language. You can kind of pick out some Frenchy things to it, but if you know French, then you're assumed to be educated. And if you know English, you're assumed to be educated. Mm-hmm. And what I love is that our people down there, the young men, the young women, we go, it's funny, I took 4 years of French in high school and I couldn't remember it. But you send a kid to English school in Haiti for less than a year and they come out borderline fluent with it. And I love the fact that when I first started going, a long time ago, you were the only English speaking guy. So even Fedony, I needed translators. And now they all speak English.
All of them.
And it's then presumed then by others they're respected because they must be educated.
Exactly.
And there's just a perception to that it's a good. And by the way, obviously it bolsters their own confidence. And I could literally swing a dead cat at Starbucks and not hit a single person in America that could speak more than just English. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about young men that, like Gabby, for instance, like, he's a guy that, he's lived a little adventurous, but he was considered, in school, his teachers told him, can't learn. And that guy can hold a conversation with me. Yeah. So clearly he can learn.
He can learn.
And can, help function. So as we wrap up, the church is what we lead. The church in the earthquake became the main mechanism for distribution of supplies and relief and ongoing in it. And I believe that that's the future as well. Because if Matthew 24 and 25 are correct, and they are, because it's the Bible, so the only question is where are we? Are we in Matthew 24 or 25? Are we on the precipice of it? But it speaks of wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, right? Diverse places, all kinds of. But it's in that context that Jesus talks about the least of these brothers of mine. It wasn't just a be nice. It is that, but it was in the context of as the end draws near, that the earth. I think it's Romans talks about it, it's like birth pains. And you and I both have kids. We both watch babies be born. Mm-hmm. It's a brutal experience. I mean, Mike is going to have one. When's your baby due? June 6th. He's about to be on the business end of one more.
Wow. It's
a bloody, brutal affair, but it's not for nothing, because on the other side of it is a baby, is new life.
Yes.
And I believe that's it. So it's almost like what we get to be are like the midwives for the kingdom of God being born.
Facilitate life.
Right. We're bringing in the nurturing and the care. The whole world seems to be contracting and crushing, but we get to be a part of that. And we get to say, I vividly remember when God first started wrecking me for this 20 years ago, that I was looking at those questions, the least of these brothers of mine, did you feed me when I was hungry? Did you clothe me when I was naked? Did you visit me when I was in prison? And I'm like, nope. And it's like, it's right now in Tennessee, they're doing finals. It's like somebody gave you all the questions to the test before you walked into the room of school. And so you should be able to, ace the test.
Yes.
Jesus gave us the questions. We know what he's going to ask us. And if I have to say no to all of that, it just feels
big failure.
I don't want that, right? And neither do you, which is why we get a chance to say yes.
Yes.
To feed me while I was naked, clothe me when I was naked. We get to say yes to those things, and we get to say yes over and over. One of the most beautiful pictures in Scripture is that it's in Luke. I think it's 13. There's the parable of the wise, the shrewd manager, who used his master's money to make friends for himself when he was fired on the other side of it. And basically, it was saying, he was using his master's money to erase the debts of the people that owed him money.
Yes.
And it was doing it dishonestly. And Jesus, it said, commended him because he acted shrewdly with his money. And he said, even the pagans, the unbelievers, know that they can use their money to gain friends. So you, right, being wise people, should use your money. And then he goes on to say that when you are walking to eternity, you will be welcomed into eternity. And the picture being that the people that we help in that way, using not my money, this is the master's money, that they'll be there to welcome us into eternity. So the vision in my brain is you and I will both get Jesus, the Father welcoming us in, well done, my good and faithful servant.
Yes.
But who is going to be behind them welcoming us with them? Is it going to be one person? Is it going to be 100,000 people? But is it just going to be Jesus? But we get to make that decision, and someday you and I will get to walk into eternity with thousands of people standing behind Jesus, welcoming us home with a well done, because we visited them in their time of need.
Amen.
And so that's $60. It seems like, that's what, 2 Starbucks drinks? I don't even know what that is anymore. But it's an eternity for somebody, and we get a chance to invest in that. We're getting ready to wrap up here. Is there anything that we didn't discuss that you want to discuss? Anything you didn't get to say that you wanted to say?
I would say we don't want to be forgotten. And when the lights have been flashing out of our way, so then we're not anymore in the spotlight. According to the media, when it comes to bad things, yes, they know Haiti have been through whatever, but we want the whole world to keep on remembering that Haiti is still there in the backyard of Miami. And we need the world to continue to stretch their hands, even if you're bypassing government, but find agencies that are helping people that you can work with to help as many as you can. Right now, for the survival mood, maybe another year we're gonna have to keep on doing the same thing until a level of stability can start taking place. But let's do it when people finish to survive, and then they, on the other side, when stability is established, they can try to help themselves as they have, because Haitians are resilient. They are fighters.
They are scrappy.
So they're not gonna give up easily like that, and that's what keeps us alive, because our resilience have been strong. We thank God for what He's doing, and we also say and even if any church planters listening to me out there, we also looking to plant more churches in Haiti.
That's good. Yeah, we should not forget that.
Yes, we're looking to plant more churches in Haiti. So if you're looking for partners to establish more churches, maybe you question why more churches. Why? Because there are many more people that have a crazy worldview of the world of the God that is alive there. So we want to be able to put it in front of them and give them an opportunity to serve that God who's able to empower them to really influence the world around them from within. So just like people like me who get saved young, my eyes were opened very early when it comes to faith, to Christianity, and I was well on my way for success. Because when Christ stepped in and you embrace the principles of Christ, apply them into your life, believe you me, you may not have money, but you have access to really help others, to help yourself, because you understand. And I always say to you, even if I die, I know I'm safe. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm not afraid to get involved in Haiti, regardless of what is happening, because I said I know I'm dead already. I'm dead already in the sense of I'm dead in Christ. So if you kill me, it's okay, because I know my faith is keeping me alive even after death. So
that's powerful. I respect you on so many levels, but your lack of fear. Let me phrase that. We all experience fear. You just overcome yours.
Exactly.
I don't remember who said it, but courage is not being afraid. It's just doing it anyway. Just do it afraid. But you are just as much of a target as I am. In fact, you're more of a target than I am.
It is.
More Haitians have been kidnapped in the last few years than Americans.
A lot.
And what's happening when you go down there, I mean, the lengths that you go to, and the only reason you haven't been lately is there's no flights going into Port-au-Prince at all. But even then, you were going in, you were getting a moto, going completely out of the way, switching moto, switching to a van.
I've done all that.
Oh, yeah.
Just a boat.
Yeah, and a boat, whatever it takes. And that's something that, man, we respect on every level. And the words that you just said, because I'm dead already, is something that if we could learn that, I'm dead already. I'm dead in Christ.
Yeah.
So whether, you can, what is the words of Jesus, you fear somebody who can kill your body, you should be really afraid of who can just your soul.
Your soul.
And our fear has been greatly misplaced. And I hope to get back there soon.
Trusting that.
We're trusting, yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned that, and I think Elsa's probably this way too. I know Shannon she'd rather be a widow than married to a coward. And I'll say that too. If you're a man, I think that's pretty much all of our wives. I mean, our wives, they've got fear. We don't want to just be doing dumb stuff for the sake of dumb stuff. But living with courage is what men were wired to do. It's what we're created to do.
Yes.
And we get to be a part of that. So thank you for being here. On the one hand, it's like, I'm just so sad and frustrated for what's happening to your nation, to the people. And on the other hand, it's like, okay, but God is he's on his throne. Mm-hmm. He is not losing the battle.
No.
And we just get to be a part of it. So our choice is to do nothing or to join the battle where God calls us to join the battle. And for us, the battle, overcoming evil with good, shutting up the talk of foolish men with our good works, First Peter. We get to be a part of all of that. And when you think about it, there's a pretty big honor with it because Jesus could choose any way he wanted to, but he chose us. We get to do this. I mean, can you believe that? Like 500 and some kids got going to school, and he lets you do that. Like he could have done it, but he lets you do it.
Amen.
And be a part of it. And all you had to do was say yes to it. So thank you for saying yes and for keep saying yes. Send your love to Elsa, our love to Elsa.
Thank you.
And Jeremiah, I was going to say, he lives here. I mean, Jeremiah's here. Your other son, Elijah, he's in Antigua?
He's in Antigua. Yeah, he's he's a junior in high school.
Wow.
So he's about to finish next year. And hopefully he will move in the U.S. to try and figure it out for now. And then after that, we don't know what's next.
Well, you got some good kids and you've done a good job. So thanks for being with us. If you are in the Nashville area, we'd love to have you join us on a Sunday. ConduitChurch.com for information. Again, if you want to know how you can help Conduit, the Deeper podcast, just click the like and subscribe on YouTube and on Apple and do those reviews for us. Again, whether Mo is better looking or I am, I think that's probably the most important review that you could give, but it does help just to keep us up in the algorithms and to get the message of the gospel, not just to the people in our church, but to people all across the world. So thanks for joining us. We will see you, listen to you next week on the Deeper podcast.